It was October 29th, 1969. Think about that. That was a long time ago. The place was a UCLA lab. Room 3420 Bolter Hall, to be exact. Outside, the world was doing its thing. Inside, something amazing was about to be tried. A young student programmer named Charlie Klein was there. He was at the center of it all. Can you imagine how he felt? This wasn't just another day at school for him. No way. The lab was probably buzzing. Not with lots of people talking, but with the hum of big computers. Computers back then were huge. They filled rooms. They had blinking lights and spinning tapes. Wires snaked across the floor. The air itself might have felt electric, or maybe just a little bit tense. Everyone involved knew this was important. They were trying to make computers talk to each other over a great distance. That was a wild idea back then. Charlie Klein must have been nervous, wouldn't you be? He was a young student. He had a very important job to do. He was the one who would type the first message. What if it didn't work? What if something went wrong? The hopes of many scientists and engineers were resting on this moment. He probably checked everything many times, making sure all systems were go, or at least as go as they could be. The goal for the night was simple, or it sounded simple. Send a word from one computer to another. The word was login. Just 5 letters. But sending those 5 letters was a giant leap. It was a test of a brand new network, a network called ARPANET. Nobody knew then that ARPANET would grow up to be the internet. They were just trying to make a connection, a tiny digital handshake. So what was this ARPANET thing? Well, ARPA stood for Advanced Research Projects Agency. It was part of the US Department of Defense. They wanted to connect powerful computers at different research places. Why? So scientists could share information and share computing power. It was a brilliant idea. This network was the baby internet, its very first steps. It was designed to be tough too. The 2 computers in this story were like pen pals, but they were very big, very expensive pen pals. One was at UCLA, where Charlie Klein was. It was an SDS Sigma 7 computer. The other computer was hundreds of miles away. It was at the Stanford Research Institute, or SRI. That one was an SDS 940 computer. Getting these 2 giants to chat was the challenge. Imagine stretching a very, very long, very smart telephone line between them. That's kind of what they were doing. The task itself, logging in remotely, sounds so normal now. We do it all the time. You log into your email, you log into websites, but back in 1969, whoa, that was cutting-edge stuff. It meant one computer could control another from far away. Charlie Klein was going to try and type login. If it worked, the UCLA computer would be talking directly to the Stanford computer. It was a big deal, a very, very big deal for computer science. Over at SRI, another important person was waiting. His name was Bill Duval. He was on the phone with Charlie Klein. This was old-school communication. They needed the phone line to confirm if the messages were getting through. So Charlie would type and Bill would watch his screen and then shout over the phone if he saw anything. The excitement must have been building. Tick-tock, the clock was ticking. Everyone held their breath. All right, the moment of truth arrived. Charlie Klein sat at his terminal. He took a deep breath. Probably. Then he started typing. The plan was clear. Type L-O-G-I-N. 5 simple letters. He typed the first letter, L. He then used the telephone headset. He called out to Bill Duval at SRI. "Did you get the L?" he asked. Think of the suspense, waiting for that answer. All that technology, all those hopes hanging on one letter. And guess what? Bill Duval shouted back through the phone. Got the L? Yes, success. The L had made it. It traveled all the way from UCLA to SRI. Through the wires, through the network. 1 letter down, 4 to go. Imagine the relief. Imagine the small smiles. The system was working, or at least part of it was. The connection was live. The digital handshake had begun. This was history in the making, 1 letter at a time. Feeling a bit more confident, Charlie typed the next letter, the letter O. Again, he got on the phone. "Did you get the O?" he asked Bill Duval. The tension was probably a bit less now. They had one success. Maybe this would be easy after all, and Bill replied, "Got the O, fantastic, 2 letters, L then O." The message, LO, was now on the screen at SRI. They were halfway to log in, almost. But then something happened. Something unexpected. The system crashed. Poof, it just stopped working. The connection between UCLA and SRI broke. After just 2 letters, only L and O had made it through. The full word login never arrived. Not on that first try, anyway. So the very first message sent over this precursor to the internet wasn't login, it was just hello, like saying hello, but getting cut off, a very short, very abrupt first conversation. So LO was an accident, a glitch, a system failure cut the message short. It wasn't what they planned. They wanted login, but history has a funny way of working. That little incomplete LO became famous. It became the first message ever sent over the ARPANET. Think about that. The internet's first word wasn't a grand statement. It was a fragment, a broken piece of a bigger idea. But it was a start, a very important start. Why was this tiny two-letter message so important? Well, LO proved something huge. It proved that the core idea worked. Computers could talk to each other across a network, over a distance. Even if the system crashed, those two letters got through. It was like the first spark that starts a giant bonfire. It showed the potential. It was a tiny seed from which a mighty forest, the internet, would grow. It was a real eureka moment, even if it felt like a bit of a letdown at the time. Consider this. From that simple LO, look at where we are now. We use the internet for almost everything. We send messages around the world in seconds. We learn, we shop, we play games, we connect with family and friends. We watch videos of scientists explaining things or cats playing the piano. All of that, every single bit of our online world, it all traces its roots back to that moment. Back to Charlie Klein typing L and O. It's mind-boggling, isn't it? So that little broken message, hello, tells us a big story. It shows that great big changes often start with very small steps. Sometimes they even start with mistakes or accidents. The journey to the amazing world-changing internet didn't start perfectly, but it started. And that's what matters. Even a tiny LO can echo through history. It can change the world. What small step will you take today that might lead to something amazing tomorrow? Think about it.